Okay guys, so we have been talking about animal diseases and ailments, things that can affect them, and also different types of feeds and feeding programs. So today we are going to work through a little problem here. And the example animal I'm going to use today is a horse, but this can be applied to any type of animal. It would just be too hard to work all animals into one example. So we'll use the horse as our main example today, but I want you guys to think about how this could be applied to other animals as well. Okay, this is not just strictly geared towards horses. So I already passed you guys out a sheet titled The Problem Horse. Would anyone like to read that first paragraph for me? Krista.
Your 14-year-old show horse has been slowly losing weight. It is now July, and the horse is attending a 2-day show every other weekend, including staying at the hosting show stalls. The horse is being worked 5 days a week to compete in the open jumping division.
Thank you. And then there is the horse's work schedule there. So you see he has Monday off. Then he's ridden for 60 minutes at the trot in a field. So he's using all his muscles. He's burning a lot of calories there. Wednesday he has a 30-minute canter set. So his heart rate is up through the roof, followed by a 30-minute jumping session. So you have to think about all the calories this horse is burning. It doesn't matter what he's doing. I don't want you guys to understand that. I just want you to think about everything he's doing, his stress level and his exercise level. Thursday is then followed by an hour and a half of dressage. Again, all his muscles are engaged. And Friday, he has Friday off, but what is he doing that might add to his stress? Traveling in a trailer. That is very stressful on a horse. We want to think about what we talked about as far as ventilation, as far as movement goes, and as far as standing still, depending on how far away the show is. So I want you guys to keep that in mind. And again, think about even taking your cow to the fair. He's standing in the trailer. He's not moving. The ventilation isn't great. So again, think about all other animals as well. And then Saturday and Sunday are the shows. So he's showing, so he's very stressed out because there's a lot of horses around. There's a lot of activity going on. He's also getting a 30-minute trot canter set before the show, and then at night a 30-minute walk trot session. And then Sunday he's showing and traveling home. So keep all those things in the back of your mind. And can I have a volunteer to read the last paragraph for me? Amanda.
The horse is a 17-hand Dutch warm-blooded thoroughbred cross gelding. His ribs are showing beyond what is considered fit, and his hair coat is looking slightly dull. He is receiving a free choice of 50-50 grass hay alfalfa mix. His performance in the show ring is also decreasing as well as he is becoming more lethargic.
What does lethargic mean?
Sick?
Yeah, he's just kind of losing his energy. His energy's going down. He's not excited to show. These are some pictures of him showing before, and you can see how fit and how shiny he is. And his ears are perked up. He's very happy to be working. And his size, again, we didn't talk about sizes yet, but 17 hands is going to be about here. So he is a big horse. So think about how many calories he needs. And we talked a little bit already about the different types of hay. Who knows what a 50-50 hay is? Is it going to be high in nutrition and calories or low in nutrition and calories? High, yeah, because it's going to have all those added nutrients from the alfalfa. And he's getting that free choice, so he can eat as much hay as he wants. So this is our horse here, so just kind of take a look at these pictures of him competing. And the questions we want to try to work out are what could be potential causes for his decreased condition, and then what could be done to improve his condition. So what's going on? So here's our horse at the peak of his condition. You can see he's very well filled out, very muscular. And does anyone know what these little spots on his coat are called? Those are dapples. When a horse is in prime health, any horse, it doesn't matter what color they are, they get dapples. I'm not sure about other animals if they can get that from being extremely fit and extremely healthy as far as cattle and sheep go. But on a horse, you always look for those dapples to make sure that they're getting everything they need. So he's very, very fit there. And then he turned into this. Whoa. So you can see he's dropped a ton of weight. He still looks perky, his ears are up and everything, but his ribs are showing more than a normally fit horse would. And I'm gonna go out there and tie other animals into this. If you're showing other animals, you don't want them to be overly fat whenever you take them in. I know for the sheep judging, if that judge is coming up and trying to feel their muscles and they have to work through all that fat, you're probably not going to score as high as someone else when they can really feel the definition of that muscle. With a horse, if they are fit, you're going to see a little bit of rib, but if they're skinny, you're going to see all these ribs up front. He's getting sunken in here, his tail looks kind of crispy, his mane's all crispy, and he's just not shiny. So, some factors to consider. We already talked about his decrease in energy, decrease in shine to his hair coat, decrease in performance. And we went over these as we read through our example. His exercise level is up, his showing is up, traveling is up, and I said it's mid-July, so temperature is up too. So, what do you guys think is going on? Let's throw some ideas out there. And think about everything we've talked about up to this point. Feeding, diseases, illnesses, ailments. Does anybody have any guesses? Do you guys have any other animals? What do you feed them? Do you just give them hay? Or do they get anything else? You give them grain. What kind of grain do you give them?
I don't know, 16%.
Water was another good thing that Becky brought up there. We want to make sure he's not dehydrated. If he is dehydrated, he's not going to hold his weight. Okay, a horse can lose up to 30 pounds a day in water weight. So we want to definitely be sure we're keeping him hydrated. If he's dehydrated, he's not going to metabolize his feed as well. He's probably not going to eat. He's going to feel sick. If any of you guys have ever worked outside all day and you kind of go in and you just feel like horrible and don't want to do anything, you don't want to eat or anything, you might be a little bit dehydrated. But going back to the feed thing, so you don't know exactly, is it corn, is it a mix?
Yeah, it's like corn.
Okay. So do you think that we should maybe add some sort of concentrate or some sort of grain to this horse's diet? Do you think it should be a lot all at one time or increasing a little bit every day? Does anybody know why? Anybody want to venture a guess as to why we don't want to dump a whole bunch of food to this horse all the time? Yeah, he can get sick. So, does anybody else have any ideas? Since he's already receiving free choice hay, if we add a little bit of concentrate to his diet, that could give him, what, increased calories, increased energy?
Well, like the small, like the minerals and vitamins, maybe he's missing some key
That's a very good
minerals or
point.
vitamins.
Protein, yeah. What is he doing that's going to be requiring a lot of protein? Exercising these muscles. If you're trying to put weight on a steer for market, are you going to be feeding them a lot of protein? Are you trying to build that muscle? So we want to think about what that animal needs in higher quantities than other things. What other things might be going on besides feed? Does anyone have a guess? What else do you guys do to your animals throughout the year before fair or before sale?
Shots, like
Vaccinations? Anything else that's kind of along that line with vaccinations? Anything else that you do to keep them healthy? Since they're outside, eating, around, maybe where they deworm them, yes. And that was kind of the little hint I had in there about his hair coat looking dull. And I'm going to assume this is for any animal too, I haven't looked at any research for that, but with horses, if their hair coats are starting to look a little bit dull and a little bit crispy, they might need dewormed. Horses should be dewormed every 2 months or be on an everyday type of deworming program. The other thing I didn't mention with deworming in the problem, so that I wanted you guys to bring this up, but this was probably not the issue, is their bellies will look distended if they have a heavy parasite infestation. So he could need dewormed. It might be the beginning stages of parasites. Anything else? Do you guys, whenever you're trying to get your animals fattened up for the fair, do you give them anything else besides just grain? Do you pour anything on their feed or add anything for calories? could do a calorie added. Yeah.
Well, I know for cows, when you take them to the fair, sometimes you give them beef pulp, and it's supposed to really just make them full.
Yeah. And with the beet pulp, do you have to soak that in water, or you just give it to them dry?
So they're
Soak it in water. Then do you mix anything with that beet pulp? Beet pulp is really good for animals. It's kind of empty calories. It doesn't make them out of control and increase their energy level, but it just gives them, you know, some extra calories. It's kind of like eating oatmeal. After you eat a bowl of oatmeal, you don't feel like going out there and, you know, going crazy and partying and dancing. You just feel like, okay, I had some oatmeal. But it's going to it's going to give you some calories, okay? It's going to keep you full. It's going to give you some extra calories. And you can add things to that, like we put blueberries or bananas or something in our oatmeal sugar. So we can do the same thing with animals. Another thing we can do, we talked about his dull hair coat. If we put some oil, corn oil on his feed, that would put that shine back on him too, and give him calories without making him hot or hyper. What about an ailment? We talked about all that traveling in the trailer. Does anybody have a guess as to an ailment that we had talked about in a previous lesson? Was stress?
Well, I was just going to say maybe like his feet or legs, and maybe then he doesn't want to get up to eat or go to water.
That could be. Another thing too are ulcers. Animals that travel a lot in trailers and are put in stressful situations can develop ulcers, gastric ulcers, and then they won't want to eat. And then they also have trouble breaking down that food and passing it into the rest of their digestive tract. So going back to our horse example, studies are really coming out about this in show animals. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say that probably if you're traveling a lot with your sheep or your cows or your other animals, they might be prone to that too. And just stress. I mean, if humans are put under a great deal of stress, they can also get ulcers and they can lose weight. So that could be a problem. There are ways to prevent that with different types of supplements that you can give them to their feed, or just give them some time off. And your vet can diagnose if they're ulcers. And then other health issues. You might be sick. Becky brought up vaccines at the beginning of the class. You know, you have to watch for things. Shipping fever, Potomac horse fever. All those things can make a horse lethargic, drop weight. And again, think of your other animals too. What are some things that a cow can get that makes them kind of sickly? Anything?
Hardware.
Hardware season. Okay. So, you know, we just have to really think about our animals and make sure that we're doing everything we can to make sure they're happy and that they're healthy. Whether they're a horse that's showing and being asked to perform, and we want them at the top of his game, because otherwise we don't get any money from these shows. If he knocks the rail down, we're probably out of the money. And if you're taking your cow to a show or your lamb to a show and you want them to bring a good price in an auction, we have to consider all these factors, because we want them to shine in the show ring. We want them to produce either the milk or the meat that we need them to, or the athletic ability, and we want our animals at the top so we can have a good return on our investment. Any other questions about this? You guys did a good job coming up with some possible solutions. And the best thing to do if you have an animal like this is to call your vet, check your feeding program, make sure it's nothing you can, you know, fix until the vet gets there, but then you would call your vet out and make sure it's not something more serious like ulcers or some sort of illness. Good job, guys. Thank you.